My name is Joshua Bello, and this is my story. I'm the oldest of 12 siblings. We were all born and raised in Gambia in one of the poorest regions. My job was simple. I was a construction worker. Although it didn't pay much, it helped put food on the table. That is until one day when I managed to mess up the easiest of jobs. I mixed up the wrong ration of water to cement, and when my boss, who had always had it out for me, found out, he immediately fired me. After that, I knew I couldn't stay in Gambia any longer and opted to go to Nigeria in search of a new job. However, a problem arose when I realized I didn't have enough money to fund my trip to Nigeria, and as a result, I had to stop at Bamako in Mali. I spent a whole 6 months there working at various jobs such as waitering, security, etc., to save up enough money for the rest of my trip. I traveled to Nigeria via a bus as soon as I had enough money. There I met Ariel, the love of my life. She was my landlord's daughter, and upon first sight, I knew she was the one for me. She must have felt the same way as well, because before long, we were wed. Despite my lack of financial security, her family was more than willing to give me her hand. A short 2 months after our wedding, Ariel was pregnant, and I understood that we would both need to find better jobs if we wanted to provide a bright future for our child. We had to move soon before Ariel became too weak, and so just a few weeks after we got the news of the pregnancy, I booked 2 bus tickets to Libya and we were on our way. It was the happiest time of our lives until tragedy suddenly struck. On our way to Libya, our bus was stopped by rebels at the border and we were all robbed. Our driver tried to be a hero and stood up against the rebels and was promptly murdered in cold blood. Thankfully, we were spared, but our pockets were emptied and our spirits shattered. We were forced to find another means of transportation, and more often than not, were reduced to long, hard hours in the merciless sun. My biggest concern was Ariel, whose stomach grew larger with every passing day, and I knew we had to find somewhere to rest soon. At long last, we arrived in Katran, and with the help of a kind couple, we had a roof over our heads and full bellies. I struggled to find work, however, and could barely scrape in any money with a few odd jobs here and there, and with Ariel bedridden. Well, it wasn't easy. Our brief time of happiness was cut short when Ariel delivered. Even with the help of Martha, the kind lady, Ariel suffered greatly during the delivery. She died in great pain, clutching our baby to her chest. Our baby died minutes later. Tamsin, we would have called her, a gorgeous baby girl. Every day I regret not having been home to ease my wife's passing to the other world. The death of the 2 people I loved most in the world caused me such great pain that I couldn't even begin to describe it in words. Lost in my despair, I was unable to focus on my work and was fired a few short weeks later. I was numb for a long time, drifting from various jobs and never able to hold on to anything. It wasn't until one day when I ran into my old friend, who I had met back in Nigeria where I got married to Ariel, that I realized how much I had strayed off my path, and that if Ariel were alive, she would have been very disappointed with me. With this in mind, I made my way to Sabah and spent 4 months working there trying to get back on my feet. But soon I realized that I couldn't stay in Africa any longer, not with so many things to remind me of my past family. Luckily, I met a few of my old friends who were willing to lend me some money after hearing my story. With the newly acquired money, I set off for Tripoli, where I would meet up with another 10 migrants to travel across the ocean for Italy. The journey to Italy was undoubtedly the most arduous journey of my life. Being stuck on a small boat with a bunch of strangers while being sleep and food deprived didn't make for a very nice trip. I spent most of my time either lying around on the boat or helping the others empty water out the leaking boat with our hands. 10 days later, we had reached our destination. The sights, the smells, even the taste of the coastal breeze on my parched tongue were all so foreign, so different. I was overwhelmed by sheer shock and relief. Tears in our eyes, all of us crew embraced, rejoicing the end of our long, tasking journey. Although I know I will never be able to fully recover from the horrible events of the past years, I have come to accept these scars, to learn from them and become the better man that Ariel has always seen in me, to be a man that my daughter would have been proud of, and to be able to give back to the world as others have given to me. My name is Joshua Bello, and this was my story.